Morning, Saturday, September 14th, 2024. I'm Larissa. My video diary. I don't have a skull yet, but I have some water. I've brushed my teeth, brushed my zubi, dropped the dose. Hey, Brody. Brody. Hey, mister, I hear you thumping your tail. Hey, mister. Mister, did you drop a deuce this morning yet? He stopped wagging his tail. He has not dropped a deuce yet this morning. Anyway. Oh. So, yesterday, I got a whole bunch of stuff done I needed to do. And I made a big salad for dinner. It was delicious. It was, I don't know, sometimes it was just the right balance of everything. I had a nice big fresh head of romaine lettuce. And I chopped up 2 small yellow sweet peppers and 2 nice plump ripe tomatoes and half a cucumber and some pine nuts. And what else did I put on a salad? A shallot chopped up and a whole bunch of fresh cilantro and some fresh parsley. And then just before I tossed it, I put feta cheese on top of that and some just a handful of crouton crumbs and then the dressing was pineapple juice and I make a lemon vinegar. So my lemon vinegar and some capers and sesame oil and olive oil and minced up Calabrian red pepper. I tossed the whole salad together and I air fried some falafel patties to go on top of that salad, and it was good. It was a good salad. I'm still thinking about it. Fat girl's still thinking about a salad in the first thing in the morning. Oh my goodness, Brody. You loving your daddy? You loving your daddy? Did you snuggle with boobies this morning? Did Brody snuggle with boobies? He did. He snuggled with boobies. And he did no sneaky booby licking. Oh, nice buddy. One. He's being a good boy. He's such a good boy. Brody's a good boy. Oh, my God. Brody, 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 everything's Brody, everything's Brody, it's all Brody all the time, it's Brody, Brody, it's Brody, Brody, it's the Brody Show, it's the Brody Show, Brody, Brody. Hi. Uh-oh. Are you shaking off my kisses? Are my kisses gross? Let me give gross fat girl kisses. Hey. 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 Hey, mister. Hey. Now it's my turn to give hugs. Hi. My turn to get hugs and kisses. My turn. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You want to sit on my lap? No. He sat on me. He sat on my stomach. He just plopped his butt down on my tummy. And I was like, oh. When I was sleeping. Yeah. So, I've been seeing all this stuff about, so JD Vance said something about Haitians eating pets in Ohio. And then somebody said, oh, there's no proof that they're eating pets. And then somebody posted a video of some lady. And she looks distraught. I don't see anything in the video. Maybe I didn't see the whole video, where I didn't see her actually eating a cat, but I see the person taking the video, talking to some guy who sounds like he might have a Haitian accent, who says that she's been through a lot and lost her husband and her mother and gave her children away and blah, blah, blah. So there's been unrest in Haiti for a very long time. And why there are groups of Haitian immigrants specifically settling in Ohio in particular, I don't know, but I can understand how Haitian people are might not get along with people in Ohio, right? Um, so voodoo is prevalent throughout the Caribbean, and when you get onto the mainland, there's voodoo in Florida, and then as you in the tip of Florida, and as you come up Florida and come up the rest of the Gulf of the Coast, you have a lot of voodoo, and voodoo is a an American version of voodoo that has more French influence, right? And so, what is voodoo? Voodoo is not the original religion of the Caribbean, right? It is an amalgamation of the indigenous religions of the islands and Western African religious practices, most strongly influenced by Yoruban practice. Within Yoruban practice, these are all considered pagan faiths, and they are religions, right? These are people's religions. These are non-Abrahamic faiths. Um, and further west you go on the Gulf Coast, and then you get into Santeria, which is all they're all kind of in the same family of faiths. And yes, there is history of animal sacrifice, of animal bloodletting in these faiths. Most commonly in voodoo, it's chickens. Same thing in voodoo. Most commonly, it's chickens. The further north you get, when you start to get into Appalachian culture and pagan faiths that existed among the mountain peoples, and then get up the East Coast, where you have you have predominantly Celtic and Gaelic pagan influence. Those groups have largely eliminated actual blood sacrifice and have replaced it. In Christianity, the sacrifice that is replaced is the Eucharist and the wine, the blood of Christ at the table, right? And that was what the good news was post resurrection, is that the sacrifice you no longer needed to offer burnt offerings and animals, meaning and blood. So some groups, some people offered burnt animals. This is, but in pagan traditions, in some places, they still do animal offerings. Now, like I said, in voodoo, it's things that are used, animals that are used most frequently are chickens. Um, and it's not just in voodoo practice, but that is also in pagan gypsy practice as well. Um, so this is human. This is anthropological, and I think it's very, very unfair for somebody like JD Vance to say Haitians are eating people's pets. And if this is a case where a Haitian woman has consumed a non traditional animal in some method, it is a Haitian woman who has who has done this, not Haitian people, right? Not all Haitians practice voodoo. Not everybody in the Caribbean practices voodoo. You know, it would be like saying that everybody in the United States is a Christian. That is not the case, right? Um, and in mainstream practices of voodoo, Santeria, and voodoo, you don't generally see things other than chickens used, right? You get like I was saying, when you get further north, you get rabbits, you'll see squirrels. Um, used. It's where you get a rabbit's foot from. You got to kill that rabbit in order to do that, and that rabbit is sacrificed, right? And there's a um, there's a scene in To a God Unknown where Joseph Wayne ends up on land with a with an indigenous man who is keeping animals in cages, and he eats them, but he sacrifices them first, right? It's kind of similar to the way, to practice of halal slaughtering or kosher slaughtering, right? It's congruent. It's congruent. But the animals that are generally used are animals that are thought of as animals for consumption, whether it's wild game or or livestock, right? Cats are sacrificed in many pagan traditions under great duress, right? It's usually done as a to try to drive out bad spirit, and it's unfortunate if something like that has happened, and I think that if there is an individual who has done this in this kind of setting, that it would be very upsetting to a largely Christian population. Ohio is strongly in the Bible Belt, and that woman's probably under great duress and seeking, comfort in her familiar spirituality. Do I think it's right to be killing and eating cats? No, but I don't practice voodoo, right? And so it's a different set of beliefs, right? And you know, I attended a a coven circle with some women that I knew who were practicing who practiced an East Coast variety of Wicca. They did not have blood sacrifice at the circle, which, there would have been at one point doves or other animals. I mean, you look in ancient Rome, goats and dogs. Um, so the history of that is there, but they did have a glass of wine that they shared, and there was a chant that was about the circle of life, right? So these there's symbolism in modern with modern day sensibilities, right? In some practices, but this is somebody who is coming from a very strong traditional background, and she was in distress. This is what I'm seeing when I see that video. And in a country that is supposed to be about freedom of religion, his remarks were very insensitive. Do I want this woman to be continuing to eat carrion or do blood sacrifice of animals? No, that's my sensibility. I think she has some other issues, and that's not something that's done on the daily within voodoo practice, right? And like I said, most frequently, chickens are used. And geez, Americans eat a lot of chicken, right? And I'm not saying I want anybody to sacrifice a chicken. I'm a vegetarian. I don't, So I just think that whole thing is unfortunate. I think it's an exploitation. It's an attempt at demonizing a group of people who are already marginalized and are already vulnerable, and I think that is despicable. Far more despicable than if she actually ate a cat. And cat meat is supposed to be really awful, right? So I think the bad juju is on JD Vance on in this. And so, I think, sorry, you have invited some bad juju into your life with your ignorance. Yeah. I've spent a lot of time studying, and I have met many a practitioner from many a different background, and not all pagans adhere to blood sacrifice or practice any kind of ritual with animal parts. right? But there's a history throughout humanity of these practices, right? Yoruban tradition, turtles are used. A lot of times you'll see um, animals that can go between ecosystems, like amphibians and turtles. Turtles are they amphibious, or are they amphibians, or are they reptiles? I think they're amphibians because they go between. Um, because of that symbol of that they're a symbol of being able to move between worlds. Frogs, you'll see frogs used. Um, yeah, birds, different types of birds for different things. In Chinese medicine, you know, rhinoceros horn has been used in Chinese medicine, and that has come from spiritual beliefs of powers of animals. You know, so that woman, when I saw that video, that woman looked very distressed, and I'm sorry for whoever lost their pet or the suffering of that animal, whether it was a pet or a stray. My heart goes out for the suffering of that being as well. That woman was in distress, no matter what was going on. That woman was in great distress. And that's what's not being addressed, right? That's what's not being addressed. What is the source of that woman's distress? Why did she lose her husband and her mother? Why did she have to give her children away? Why is she living in a Bible Belt community in the United States instead of in her island home? Hmm? These are the questions that should be explored. I don't practice witchcraft, but I do understand it. And it is a religion. And under the Constitution, it is to be respected. As religion, all religions are to be respected, if not adhered to, even if not adhered to or believed in, right? So take the practice, the events, and put them in the into context for understanding. And that is something that Trump and anybody that he's ever affiliated with does not do. Prayer of St. Francis. O Father, grant that I may never seek so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love with all my soul. Right? That poor woman in that video, I see your humanity and I see your distress, and I send you my love. That's how I feel about that.